Right, so just had a short game lesson with Mike Hollick, who is a South African golfer and a friend. And he's been playing the Sunshine Tour for quite a few years, and he's just done his DP World Tour card. So first of all, obviously I've said congratulations, but congratulations. He'll start his DP World Tour season next year. And look, if you watch this channel for long enough, you know that I've had my fair share of struggles with the short game. I've tried lots of different things, and I've sort of tried things for not very long and sort of like gone in and out of things and tried different techniques. But one thing that I did try a while ago, which felt like it really helped, was the left below right. And funnily enough, Mike actually switched to left below right for certain chips around the greens a couple of years ago, and he said it really helped him as well. And this is from someone who's got a very good short game. So what we did today, look, it's not like a full-blown lesson. He was just up here playing, so he said, look, I'm going to come and have a little look and see if I can help you out. Obviously this doesn't mean like I've changed my coach. Liam's obviously still the boy. He's still giving me lessons and we still speak regularly. But short game stuff we haven't really done much. It's mostly long game. So yeah, it's just good to get another pair of eyes to look at what was going on with my short game. And I mean, I was fully open to giving this left below right a try again. Funnily enough, that was nice. The reason that I actually switched away from it was purely just like a ridiculous expectation thing. I practiced with left below right and it felt unbelievable. It felt the best it's ever been, short game wise. And then I took it into a like somewhat pressurized situation, which was actually filming a match against one of the lads at the golf college, and I had a horrific lie, sat down, bare, grass around it, the type of lie that all you can really do is put it back of stance, keep the handle forward, get the toe in the ground, and your expectation should be low. And I dunched it, and it felt a bit nervy, and straight away that was at the time enough for me, because you know my mental game, especially in the short game, hasn't been great. That was enough for me to sort of like bin it at the time, even though there was so many positives in practice. So look, I'm going to talk about, it's almost gone in, I'm going to talk about the stuff that we've worked on today, and it's pretty much just set up, and then the most simple swing feel ever. And hopefully there's some people that it can help, but I know there's going to be a lot of people that watch this channel that see the struggles of short game and would prefer to see me making up and down more than 15% of the time. 15% in 2 rounds. So if we can get that to 50%, then we'd be flying. So when I first started hitting some chips today, we played around with left below right straight away, just because I think it's honestly like a much easier way to chip. And one of the main reasons is, as soon as you go left below right, it gets your tilts going this way instead of that way. And if you get your tilts this way, your low point generally follows where the sternum is. If you get your tilts going this way, obviously your low point's going to go back a bit, so strike becomes a problem straight away. So it fixes a lot of strike issues straight away. It also simplifies the action. It takes away speed as well, because it's a more shoulder, upper body led movement. You know, you're not really setting your wrists. It takes a lot of the speed out, and it simplifies the action. If you look at Jason Day's chipping and pitching, it's very much like no wrist set at all, and just using sort of like the upper body as the engine, and you're just using that to dictate speed. So the main things were set up. When I get over here, because this grass, let's give you a little example. Because it does this, we're actually going down grain here. Look at this stuff, right? So because it's really wiry and it's really thick grass, if you get the leading edge digging in before the golf ball, you can do this quite easily. It's not like at home when the grass is like really light and you can just like glide that club through. So as soon as I get to South Africa, I go, oh shit, got to find strike. Better get the ball back. Better get the ball back, and it just goes further and further back. Handle goes further and further forward. And yeah, you may be able to find strike, well, somewhat easier by doing that. But that's actually a lie, because all you end up doing is de-loft in the face, getting the handle forward, which means you definitely do have to find strike now, because if you don't, you get a dig. So we've moved the ball position up a bit. Also just changed my tilts a bit, and I'll show you some different shots in a minute. In fact, I'll show you this on the short stuff over there. But essentially, we just move the ball up a bit, move the tilts. So everything, when you go this way, low point goes forward, but ball being slightly more forward, so like inside left heel, and getting the tilts this way, it adds a bit more loft, which adds some more bounce. And then the tilts being forward helps the club work more up and down the line. And that was what I said in the last video, where it was like right, left, below, right. And I said the only swing thought I have is that we get the club working up and down the line, so the vertical swing plane nice and high. But yeah, honestly, since I've started doing this, I haven't really hit a bad shot yet, and I've started to already gauge a nice feel for it as well. I'll show you how close these are. In fact, we'll put something in the flagstick as well. And start to get a nice, like, feels like the rhythm's there going. Oof. Right, this is an idea of pretty much like the usual lies that you get around the greens. This cuckoo's pretty tight, but this is actually down grain, so it's not that bad. But if we turn the club around, check this. It is, there's zero giving it whatsoever. So yeah, let's show you where we are from a technical standpoint. And I think this could help a lot of people if you're suffering from chipping. Do you know what, something I keep forgetting, and I have to almost like get reminded, is to get your sternum forward. It's probably the most important thing you can do when you chip. As soon as your sternum's back, you're just on the back foot straight away, literally. Metaphorically, literally, and physically. So, okay, we'll just put it in a not amazing tight lie. So, ball was, when I first started chipping, left, below, right, at the start of the session, or when I met him, it was like here, which is a very like, please strike it, type ball position. So I've gone from there, and all that's really going to produce is a low flight, because I'm using a 56 degree. And I'll just show you this 56 degree as well. So I've got a 60 and a 56 in the bag. This 56 has got 12 degrees of bounce and a pretty wide sole. Gingers have soles. Which is actually like really important. I was hitting some shots yesterday with lob wedge and with 56, and because it is a very different bounce profile, the 60 degree is 8 degrees with quite a harsh relief on it. The turf interaction is so different, and you notice it because the grass is pretty wiry. So I digress. Ball more like inside left heel, and get this sternum literally on top of the golf ball. It's gone from like this to this, on top of the golf ball, and then it's just right up and down the line. And it's like the easiest way to strike it. And the other thing that can fill you with a bit of confidence, if you get the ball a bit further forward and get the tilts this way, your low point's going to be forward, but even if you strike it slightly before the golf ball, you actually can use the bounce and almost hit it slightly heavy and get away with it. But if you put it back and it's leading edge and you hit it heavy, it's not too pretty. A few of those so far in South Africa. So yeah, this is what we're looking for. Ball forward, sternum forward, and then just up and down the line. It's as simple as that. And then it's just feel. But I'm going to try and fat this. You can't really. So let's show you down the line. DTL Shan. And I made this, made this nice and easy because we got a little bottle, which is not what I've had around the greens since I got here. Got a little bottle in place just to show you where that hole is. That bottle's right behind the hole. So we'll actually try and get a bit more into this shot. This is very quick, down grain, downhill. Probably got to pitch this like a good landing spot with this ball flight because it is nice and high and soft, because you're presenting lots of loft. Is 4 paces on, maybe 3. So ball position, tilts, and then up and down the line. Nip that slightly short. And if anything, that's probably the worst strike so far, but like, got away with it. There you go, a couple paces on, nice and relaxed, nipped, and that is, yeah, that's a foot. Yeah, it can really fly it in there because it comes off with a lot of spin, even though you're, you know, not setting the wrists and not using a lot of speed and not opening the face. Comes off with a lot of spin mostly because this action, especially when you have the ball forward and your tilts forward, because there's not really much wrist set, it just gets that club sort of like working back to a position where you're presenting loft. Okay, so this is where it gets a little harder. The reason I've changed locations, I would say that last shot is probably as far as I want to hit this left below right, because when you do switch to left below right, you've got to make the decision, like, how far can I go with this? And I guess that's just through feel and practice. Let's check this is recording. We on jump. So yeah, something that I've got to just play around with, but you know, I intend to just put a lot of time into this part of the game now. Anyway, this is a really, really hard shot. So this has got to be lie dictated. You've got to have a good lie for this. I am chipping onto a severe downslope here, extremely quick down the grain. Now the only way of really getting this shot close is to play, this would be where I'd like open up and try and spin it, and even that's not spinning enough. Now this is a shot I haven't tried yet, but left below right, good thing about this is that you do present a lot of loft, so that will help with spin. Let's see if we can hit it. So ball even further forward, open face, and then we've got to still work that across. That's pretty good, because that is, I actually probably spin it more this way. Although it's a little more shallow, I'm better at presenting loft. At the end of the day, it's one of the two. So if you ever want to know how to produce more spin, you just try and open up the spin loft. So the spin loft is the difference between the angle of attack and the dynamic loft. So the loft on the face at impact. There is a point of diminishing returns with loft, but it's quite hard to actually hit that point where, you know, more loft doesn't mean more spin. But generally, if you want to apply lots of spin, open the face up and hit down on it. But I don't really feel that comfortable like chopping it with an open face with left below right. So I think I could probably generate enough spin just from doing this. So ball forward, feet slightly open. And this is a 56 degree. And that is nice and soft and floated. I mean, obviously, this is probably like the worst place you could leave yourself if you miss this green. So you're not going to get these that regularly. Let's get the handle back a tiny bit as well. Yeah, that one's come out. I mean, it's going to be perfect now, but that one's come out a little half the face. And that's the last thing. If you want to generate spin, you want to hit the grooves somewhere, like the meatiest part would be sort of like here. So you want to try and hit this part of the face. If you get it anywhere higher, there's not as much meat behind it, so it will just generally just pop up with not much spin. Okay, let's try a couple more, then we'll hit a few bunker shots as well. Yeah, again, little poppy. Sometimes when you do pop it like that as well, it can be just like water on the face. But at the end of the day, these are not like bad shots. Yeah, that is really struck. And it's straight onto downslope, so you're not going to see the spin. Right, let's try something else. Okay, upslope from the rough to a tight pin. This is not an easy shot. It's the type of shot that you can very easily get too delicate with, dunch it, then not make up and down from there and make double. So the first thing here is really always double bogey avoidance. But you know, you want to give yourself a look. So, what is that machine? Tractor straight out of the 70s. Okay, so we're going to do similar stuff. We're going to open up a tiny bit more, ball forward, and we're just going to use a bit more speed. And that right there, although it may not look very impressive, especially because you probably can't see, you know, the slope, the lie, and the fact that if you hit it in this grass, it's just going to stop. That's a shot that you'd take all day. And this is what I thought I might struggle with. Again, that's like on the edge of I'll take it, but that's not a bad shot at all. This is the lies where I thought I might struggle, because left below right, generally when people go left below right, they suffer or they struggle from the rough because you're not using your wrists and you're not using as much speed. But I feel pretty comfortable with this, so I can probably take a little bit of speed off of it, but same sort of feeling. There you go, look, that's the one, right? That's the one we get a little too delicate, and that almost wasn't great, because this rough is gnarly. Okay, this is horrible. Sat down in a hole, gonna open it up, ball forward. Yeah, very acceptable. Honestly, even more forward, open it up. You can play little poppy ones. Yeah, no, I feel proper comfortable with this. So one of the things Mike was telling me this morning, once we just went over, because it's pretty basic, like ball forward, sternum forward. Oh, that is spinning. Ball forward, sternum forward, and then working this up and down the line, as opposed to around yourself. And that around yourself is what you'll naturally do when you go left below right, because it's more like a upper body movement directing the club, and naturally you want to like take it in here. But if you can just commit to working it up and down the line, it makes strike a lot easier. Right, one more. Yeah, starting to get a feel for it now. It's good. Right, bunker shots. Okay, now from the bunker, like there's not a chance in hell that I'm going left below right. You just need too much speed, like way too much clubhead speed to be able to go left below right. So what I'm taking from what we just went over is purely the sternum tilts. So ball super forward, open face, low handle, and then really getting that sternum over. It's not just like, well, get weight forward, because you can get weight forward and do this. It's literally getting those tilts as far left as possible. You almost want the tilt over the left side of the ball, so you're getting sternum like almost in front of the ball, because you know you set your steep angle of attack and everything at address by getting here. you can just throw that underneath. Use the bounce. Okay. Open face, ball forward, sternum way in front. Chunk and run. Head up. The beauty of having the sternum so far forward and having so much loft on the face is that you can just throw this club underneath, and that is literally the key, is controlling depth, and I guess you could argue bounce has something to do with that as well. Point of entry, and then throwing the club underneath the golf ball to get it really high up with spin. That is spinning so much. Right, let's try and get a few close now. Nice. These lies are terrible. That's all I can do from that. Let's try and get like the maximum spinner, which will be yard from here. This is wet and clumpy. Oi, oi. Yeah, that's ripped back. Okay, last one. Go in. So that's it, boys. That's been my TED talk for the day. Finally, like final thoughts, and what's really important, Mike said, do this for the next 4 weeks, regardless of what happens. Just stick to it. Like, this is gonna feel uncomfortable in a tournament straight away because I've never done it in a proper tournament. But all it takes is hitting 3 good shots under tournament stress, and that's all it takes to gain some confidence, and then there's no looking back from there. All right, so I hope this has helped. Catch you on the next one.